Christian Roldan, fresh off of a terrific summer, both in the Club World Cup and the Leagues Cup and MLS, been Seattle Sounders best player, gets called into the team. He's got 37 caps in his career. He last played for the U.S. in the 2023 Gold Cup semifinal, so it's been a while. He was named in the 2022 World Cup roster, along with 7 other guys that are in this camp, and he did not play in the World Cup, but he was there. He's won 2 Gold Cups, and he got a ton of experience. Are you surprised, though? Chuck, I'll come to you. Are you surprised that Roldan's being added at this point, already a couple days late behind the rest of the group? Obviously, he was playing in the Leagues Cup final against Inter Miami, but I mean, he's a known quantity, I suppose.
In terms of a player who's going to get an opportunity, if you're giving out opportunities for people who haven't played under Pochettino, I'm not surprised that Roldan gets that look, because look at what he's been able to do with the Seattle Sounders for year after year after year. Remember, in 2022, when he's called into that World Cup team, people are like, what the hell is he doing there? Right? This was 2022, where you could say he was in his prime. I'd say now he's probably one of the most dependable, consistent MLS guys. What he does, his work rate. But remember, he was brought into that 2022 World Cup squad because of the teammate that he is. When you need a number of those guys in the locker room who are showing up every day, who are holding people accountable in training, who are going to bring that positivity with them every single day, almost like, hey, I'm grateful to be here. Remember, that gratitude has to be a part of this. I think that's one of those guys that you say, man, maybe he can still add that to this group. Maybe there's a position, a spot for that. Now, is he better than, let's say the top 5 players in midfield for the U.S. men's national team? No. But what he brings to that group every day, I think there's a lot of value in that. So I'm not surprised that Pochettino brought him in if you are giving these MLS guys a look.
All right. Tones?
Yeah. So a couple things to add to that. One, remember in his first stint with the national team, or last stint with the national team, he was looked at as a winger. Right, he's now playing as a deeper lying midfielder in the group, and he has been Seattle's best player the entire season, bar none. He's been the best player at the Club World Cup. With all of that said, I don't know if anyone else heard on the broadcast the other night, somebody, and I can't remember if it was in studio or if it was Taylor and Zach Zivin, said that he was playing the entire game injured. So he's been on an ankle injury. So that part surprises me a little bit, but I am not surprised. And I know I've read online, why don't we call Aiden Morris or Tanner Tessman or whoever you want to insert there? I'm not surprised at this point he didn't call a guy from Europe to come here, right? 3 days into camp, because then you got a day where you got to rest. That guy's almost going to miss one game, right? Already. In the camp where Christian Roldan is local, he clearly was on some list to see. So there's a lot of things that up. I'm with you, Charlie. I don't know that he's better than Aiden Morris or any of those guys. I think it was a more convenient call, even though it is across the country, but it's a little bit easier than flying from Europe. And plus, who knows? Some of those guys, they may have already made plans. They may have had 3 or 4 days off during the first part of the break, and your coach sends you away. So what do? A guy you call, I'm making it up. You call Aiden Morris and said, no, we have 3 days off. I took a vacation with somebody, and now you're going to leave the vacation. So there's other things to think about.
Oh no, hell no. Because Tony, I remember there were times where when I was coming back from the car accident, and I'm training, and then international break happens. So now I'm that guy who doesn't go to international break. I'm one of the.
Where'd you go?
Rome. It's 4 days. 4 days in Rome. Went to Barcelona, Rome. These and I'm going with my wife. Part of it was like, man, this is what happens when you don't go to international break. That's not so bad, Hey, coach gives so. Yeah, that's what's happening. You take advantage of those days that you get off to disconnect.
They all do. Everybody does. Yeah. I mean, the Sounders. We were told yesterday. I did an interview yesterday, the Sounders have 4 days off, those guys, because they haven't had a break. So it happens in Europe. So most guys get out of town, they get out of Dodge, right? So I'm not surprised that it's Christian Roldan. I know you can tell me, it's the same flight from one place to the other, but Christian is getting ready still. He just played the night before. They call him. I just think if they had him on the list to trial him, this is the time, because Jimmy, we talked about it. Come October,
yeah,
like we got to see whoever it is, then we got to back that group, right? Those are the guys we're going with.
No question. I think what's interesting about Roldan being called in a couple days after camp started is Mauricio Pochettino seeing something with this current group, like, we need another guy in this area of the field. But when I looked at who we called in initially, Tyler Adams, Sebastian Berhalter, Luca De La Torre,
Zawadzki and
McGlynn. Yeah, he's looking, clearly seeing something and going, yeah, well, let's see what he looks like amongst the group. No.
I'll tell you right now, you don't need another midfielder in this group.
Well,
you don't.
You don't. Well, if you're really looking at players, Chuck, right? I mean, he's seen McGlynn. Zawadzki would be a new entity for him, right? But clearly, if you're thinking, I'm going to look to bring in another player and get my roster up to 24, 25.
No, but what I'm saying is depth-wise, you don't need another midfielder. Especially within this roster. Within this roster, you have nobody on the wings. The same thing as Gold Cup. We go back to Gold Cup. It's a million midfielders. That's the depth. That's the strength of this U.S. men's national team, is your midfield. You have a number of quality players in that midfield. You don't necessarily know what's the right, grouping of that midfield. You don't know, okay, in terms of how Pochettino wants to play. If he wants to play his 4-2-3-1, where he's always played in every club team, that's been his preferred system. Who are those, three central midfielders? You don't know in terms of where he wants to go, what those ideal three are. We don't. But in terms of this group, if you said, hey, we got one player to bring in, what position do you think you need? It's not a midfielder, especially a central midfielder, box-to-box player. Absolutely not. You look at the wide areas. You got Weah, you got Christian, you got Zendejas, and then Diego Luna, who's been played there now. That's the weakness, right? Left back, we have Arfson. That's it. There is no other option.
Well,
you got three right backs. Dest is a right back. Dest, Freeman, Harriel, right? You got three right backs.
Right.
One left back who's a makeshift left back because he's a left wing back. And then you got four center backs. So that's the area, the thinnest part of the roster. But in terms of guys who deserve a look with performances, it's Roldan. So I'm not surprised in that sense because of his consistency, because of his engine, and like Tony said, how he showed his quality with the Sounders.
So I wonder if Roldan was always maybe on the radar, but then they were just trying to monitor him based on how healthy he was, how he performed in the Leagues Cup final, and once he did well, and the Sounders won, and he said, "Hey, I'm good enough to go. I can come into camp." Then maybe the decision was made. I'm just wondering if it was just Pochettino watching, going, "God damn, who's that guy with Messi in his back pocket?" Is it? And that's why that was the impetus for bringing him in, or was that already pre-planned? It feels like they'd already had a conversation about it. But I wonder if you just slot him right into the team. If he gets slots right into it and starts in this game, then I have some questions of the other guys on the roster, because you're not training very well. You're not absorbing the concepts of Pochettino and his staff. But
we can make an argument, right? First, I don't think he was on the roster on the radar. Sorry, prior to this season, like it was just there was no way. But he's had a great season. But we can make an argument. He's been as good as Sebastian Berhalter, as good as Luca De La Torre, as good as Jack McGlynn in the midfield, and as good as Sean Zawadzki.
Yeah.
Right, in the midfield. So we can make that argument when you're talking about this roster. I get people might not want him on the full roster. These I say all the time, I'd love when you bring like one guy in each group or two guys, like in two defenders, in one midfielder, one forward. Like these sort of mixed rosters always scare me, man, because rarely do you see these groups come together and be cohesive. And that's why I think we'll find out next roster which ones of the guys, we'll call them fringe players, if you will, that Pochettino really believes in, because it's so much easier to assess them when they're playing with quote unquote the first team, right? But at this point, we don't really know what the first team is at this point. So we might be really shocked in October when that list comes out.
Oh, look at you. You got to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. So if you want more average to good content, then you know where to go find it. Go peruse our channel, then hit like, then hit subscribe, and of course, turn on your notifications so that you never miss a show. We'll see you next time.